What's going on, everybody? Your boy E-Buck in the building. It's time for that show we call the Guru Sports Session. I am one of the hosts, co-hosts at least. The man with the master plan is right there on the other side of the box. Let me see if I can move him over. There it is. He is the one and only Hugh Lee, the sports guru himself. What up, you?
What's going on, E man?
What's going on, bro? Another day in the life. You know how it go. We'll have a brief discussion at the end about it. But in the meanwhile, I'm ready to talk some sports. And I know you are too. So without further ado, let's get busy.
Been a lot of stuff going on, man. I'm starting to mix a little bit more of what's going on in basketball now into as well because we know that pretty soon we head into the NFL playoffs, the wild card weekend. But before we really get into that, I wanted to talk about a few things that happened in college sports. What's actually surprised me, I was already hurting. We just start seeing a rack up of injuries in women's college hoops. We know about Paige being out injured right now. She's kind of banged up. And then what really hurt me was the Ashlyn Watkins news. Because when I heard Ashlyn Watkins with her, and it was not only just her, she out for the season. I said, yeah, man, that's going to be a problem for my South Carolina Lady Gamecocks. But then another news you sent me that was really weird, man, at first, because I couldn't even really put two and two together. Because at first I thought that Keami McMillan was like banged up or something happened at practice or her, going through the walkthroughs or whatever, because it was so sudden that what happened with her, but they ended up saying that she was going to be out the game. And she ended up saying that she wasn't going to be able to play. But the worst part about it that made the matter so weird, because me at first, I didn't really know. I'm thinking, man, maybe she just got hurt or something happened and they take a protocol. After that game, that's when she mentioned, you guys, I'm sorry, I wasn't the one who made that decision. The coach made the decision and basically threw the coach under the bus and pointed out the coach. But I know you knew more about it. So I just wanted you to actually tell me what was really going on because I basically heard it was a melee in the locker room. I might be wrong, but then I heard that she did something wrong and then thinking she was privileged because she is a good player, without a doubt, but then try to deflect and point at the coach themselves, like, hey, don't ask me why I ain't play, ask the coach. When you already knew that you were having issues in the locker room from the get go.
Okay, let's rewind. You didn't throw a whole bunch of the mix. I got to address it all. Okay, first of all, Ashley Watkins, she is starting power forward over there for the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. We're talking women's basketball. If you ain't figured that out by now, basically she had an injury in game and is now out for the season. She's a junior, so of course she'll be back, and more than likely, was gonna come back anyway, seeing she's a junior. Remember the way it's set up now for women's game, you got to at least be in your graduating class before you are allowed to go to the WNBA. I believe this is actually her graduating class because she started early, but yet still because, like I said, she's hurt, she'll be back. As far as Paige Beckers go, we all know she basically is the preemptive number one pick coming out of this year's draft at the moment. Of course, Paige does have the option to stay another year. She's one of those COVID kids, as we call it, that, basically if you started during the COVID year, you got that extra year because of what happened. But anyway, it's a knee injury, so of course it's a concern because, as you know, she's had injuries on both knees during the course of her basketball career. So they've basically taken a lot of precaution with her. They said in the ideal where she had to play today, she could, but she's gonna be out today. They play at 6:30 this evening. So of course, by the time you see this, they've been already played, and hopefully they will have won without her. But basically, she's out for the week. So hopefully, it's only a week, and that'll be good. Now back to the Keomi McMillan situation. She is a guard for Rutgers, and she is an outstanding guard, by the way. I would say probably one of the best ball handlers, if not the best ball handlers out of any of the freshman class this year. She is averaging almost 20 points a game. Basically, she made Rutgers anywhere close to relevant. Without her, they only had one other player that scored in double digits. So when it was discovered that she was not going to play, it was an issue. And of course, the big question was, one, what happened? Apparently, Hewitt was not anything involving any type of injury or whatnot. This was a disciplinary action. Now, let's rewind a little bit. Remember last year around this time, there was a young lady by the name of Angel Reese. You remember the story, you? Where
Yeah.
basically one point, Coach Milky decided to sit her out for a while.
Yeah,
They never really discussed exactly what happened, but
correct.
it was more disciplinary than it was anything involving her actual grades. I mean, to this day, Angel still hasn't told the whole story, nor has Kim Milky. But I'm thinking it was one of those two alpha female type scenarios where, okay, look, I'm the coach. I understand you making money and whatnot, but no, you're not about to dictate what go on here. We got a similar situation that appears here with Rutgers. Remember, for those of you who are not familiar with Miss McMillan, she actually is the first NIL athlete from the Jordan brand. And as you know, the Jordan brand is a big multi-billion-dollar brand, okay? There's already Paige Beckers and people of that nature with the brand, but she was the first person to come out of high school with an NIL deal with the Jordan brand. So of course she comes in the Rutgers program as not only the most decorated recruit, but probably the highest paid player on the team.
That's big.
So I imagine part of the issue is that when you're making that type of money and you're an 18, 19-year-old student, there's only so much you're gonna be able to tell me, okay? Especially when I know I'm that girl on the squad. So apparently there was a clashing of the minds with that, and the coach decided to show her, "Oh, we don't need you like that, boo. You can go ahead and sit this one out." Now, of course, she was highly upset, which led to the Instagram post, which she did eventually take down, saying, "Yeah, I'm not playing today. It was definitely a coach's decision to let everybody know it was her fault. I ain't play." Now again, USC played Rutgers. They wiped the floor with them. Okay, whooped them up real good. Bottom line is, then any team in the country gonna have a problem with Juju. Okay, we all know that Juju is her. But anyway, McMillan ain't no shabby player in her own right, and she just wanted to take advantage of being on the national stage playing USC and was not allowed to do so. So apparently, after the game, there was discussions with the parent of McMillan, particularly her father, who helped to recruit her to go to Rutgers. A statement has been put out saying that, yeah, his daughter has no intentions of leaving the program, although several people, after seeing her post on Instagram, put in the comments, it was those people that put that out there, not her. You should transfer, boo. You should be gone. Now, here's the problem what we about to run into, y'all, moving forward. Whenever any type of problem like this happens with one of the better players in the country, people gonna put that narrative out there. You ain't gotta stay and put up with that. You getting your money, hit that transfer portal, and go somewhere where you appreciate it. But you have to remember, good people, these are young college athletes. Scholar athletes, meaning student first, athlete second. Meaning that most of these people, 18, 19, 20 years old, you remember what your mindset was like at 18, 19, 20 years old? So imagine that and you in college, but you got some real money. You ain't got to eat ramen noodles. You ain't got to eat that bootleg pizza. You ain't got to get the Boone's Farm wine. You can get the top shelf of everything because you're making hundreds of thousands, in some cases, millions of dollars. And then you got your coach, and maybe in this case, hell, McMillan might be making more money than the coach. So you about to tell me what to do with your broke ass? I don't think so, girl. I'm that deal. Without me, you ain't got nothing. I'm
Hopefully,
self-made.
hopefully she can change damn ways, man. And because I definitely felt like when I seen that about the Jordan brand, that it was all about privilege.
Yeah. So like I said, I think when all is said and done, we had an Angel Reese type situation all over again. Apparently, Rutgers plays, I believe, tonight also, and she is back in the lineup. So we'll see if that was just water under the bridge. They said they're going to deal with it internally. You know what that means.
Yeah,
So we'll monitor that to see what's going on. But keep in mind, like I said, definitely check out Rutgers because she is worth the price of admission. She is a damn good player.
she is. I seen them clips you sent me, and I was like, man, there's a lot of good rookies, man. We already happy about the sophomores, but there's a lot of good rookies coming out too, man. So it's going to be like the next 2 to 3 years, some really good players coming out, man, and going into WNBA. So it's going to really be interesting. But Yeah, I just felt like at first I was being selfish. Yeah, if you got put out for disciplinary actions, meaning if you had a melee or whatever you did, behind closed doors and they disciplined you for it, and then you up and say something like that, that just comes with the maturity. Because if you was wrong, that if you did something and the coach disciplined you to let you know, hey, we're not gonna let you slide and do whatever you want to do. But then to put that out there, that was kind of, low key. Unprofessional. Definitely
Yeah,
when
like
you're in the
keep in
community.
mind that did went on programs for years and years and years. Okay, since me and him was little spermatozoa was floating around in people's balls, they've been doing that type of stuff in basketball, football, baseball programs. But because we're in the years of NIL, where you come into school and you already getting paid
Hmm.
and your coach getting money, but in some cases you're gonna be getting more money than your coach. Yeah, you're gonna not deal with that. I mean, it's some of the same problems that they have in the NBA. Of course, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, that's what it all boiled down to. I got to show you who really in charge up in here.
Hopefully things don't escalate and they can, hash their issues, man, and move on because she's a very good and talented player. And definitely Kiami being with Rutgers, that brings them, like you said, to the big stage because that UFC matchup would have been huge because she was already hyping it up. Ian, I remember seeing that, like, man, I get the chance to, my first year in college play Juju. I want to see how I measure as a player. So, she was pissed did not get that opportunity. And when I saw that, I said, okay, let's see what this young lady about. And then for you to give me that news and then to say that she wasn't gonna play, I'm thinking maybe she's hurt or maybe they feel like it's not right for her to play and she might be kind of banged up. But then for her to come out and make the comments about, hey, that wasn't my decision, that was a coach decision. It just seemed kind of weird, man. And you knew something was going on, but a lot of times when it's that he say, she say type of crap, most times the player is wrong, and then they just trying to cover themselves. But I thought that was very selfish of her to do that, man. Yeah, you don't do that when you was in the wrong. You're thinking, even though you did wrong because I'm your number one NIL player, and not only that, I got a huge brand backing me up that I can do whatever I feel like doing. No, it doesn't work like that.
Well, remember, like I said, she's an 18-year-old. You know what it felt like to be 18 years old and couldn't nobody tell you nothing. And it's me against the world. And plus, on top of that, she got money. This will not be the last incident like that in this day and age, NIL transfer portal. Just know that for what it is. Anyway, we can move on here. What else you got for us, bro?
I just want to talk about too, as far as the transfer portal, man. Before we get into the NBA, just how disgusted I was with some of the stuff, man. They're going to have to get some things fixed because we knew that if a player wasn't happy, that they can go ahead and they can decide to move on and go to another school, and they don't feel like they was getting the reps and stuff that they wanted. Like I've seen, a lot of people now with you know, Coach Harbaugh not being there, and definitely the coach Nick Saban's, man. If they're not happy with their playing time, man, it's not like the old days, but without the NIL. If you're not, playing, you can go somewhere where you can play and make money right away, and then you don't have to sit around and wait. But the sad part is about that. The time when we was looking in on the coach having an interview, one of the guys left, man. It wasn't even like half of the season, man. It was barely over with it. He was like, "I'm out, man," and it's like to do that, I feel like it's low down, man, and they need to fix that and get that situated before things escalate and get worse. Because it's already getting to the point where we already know it's like a business now when you're looking at college. But to go through some of these things, man, and we was already pissed before when we talked about it. This was before the NILs. Now it's worse now because these kids getting money. Remember when Nick Bosa did, man, when he got banged up, and I don't even think the injury was that serious. It was like a sprain, ankle or a high ankle sprain. He said, "To hell with that. I'm not risking myself." And when he ain't in the championship game, he packed up all this stuff, man. Like it wasn't even like I think was it like in October or something, man? It was like,
Yeah.
man, you ain't even coming back, man.
I
I'm
mean,
about
it's pretty
to
much the same situation with Will Johnson over at Michigan. Of course, he got hurt, maybe third or fourth game of the season. He never came back, but of course, he still took the opportunity to use all the facilities and whatnot to get back healthy so that when it was time for the draft, he'd be ready because, he's projected first round pick. Well, I get hurt when we're not about to win no championship. I already got my ring at Michigan. I'm good.
much.
So
Yeah,
that's what that was about.
that
But yeah,
dude.
bottom line, they definitely need to change how NIL and transfer portal is set up right now because it's handicapping the sport.
Make it
Oh,
look bad. It really makes it look bad, and it makes it seem like the players don't really care about their team. They care about themselves first. But at the same time, though, you know how they used to pimp these kids, man. So if the kids making these decisions, man, it's like a lot of it's behind the decision that I got to protect my brand, and they're looking at it like the school didn't give a damn about me before, and if I struggle, or for instance, we talked about this before when a player get hurt, man, and they don't have that, the scholarship, and you just take them off the scholarship because they're hurt. They're looking at it like, man, y'all didn't care for us for many years and pimped us for so many years. It's now the shoes on the other foot, man. How do you feel about that?
yeah. And then another thing is, while we considering what we might do as a future occupation for some of the young people out there, if you're not an athlete, that's one thing. But yeah, with all these people getting NIL deals and whatnot, you know what we're gonna need in the world now? More sports agents. Something you
Yeah,
should look into.
smart
Particularly if you go to
people.
one of those big schools where you can make personal relationships with people, go ahead and get your sports agent license. And yeah, the people I used to go to school with, go ahead and put some of them on, let them grow up, let their kids come out here, be their agent. It's a whole little pipeline you set up for yourself.
Hey, you know what's gonna be crazy, man? I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I got a feeling it's gonna happen. Just think about it, man. The first kid with an NIL deal and their agent is Scott Boris. What you gonna do then? That's when it's really gonna get out of
No, no,
hand.
here's what's really gonna happen, and that's probably gonna happen sooner or later. The first kid with an NIL deal in junior high school.
Dang, in junior high school, that's crazy.
I mean, you seen the video I sent you the other day. The kid that's 13 years old and already 7'1".
Hmm.
It's almost a given he going somewhere.
Absolutely. And he ain't shabby neither, man.
Not at all.
He actually a pretty decent all around player. He can shoot three. He can take you off
Right.
dribble. Yeah, he's pretty talented.
I mean, imagine if we was just 6'1" and 13, let alone 7'1".
Damn, if I was 6'1", man,
If I was
things
7'1",
would
oh,
be
I definitely
so
would have went to
different.
the league. Ain't no doubt in my mind. Just with my skill set, not to say I was
Yeah,
baller one or anything like that. I just know at 7'1", my ability to shoot it, I would have went somewhere.
yeah, absolutely.
Overseas something. I'm just saying.
The sky would have been the limit, man, if I was 6 foot something, man. But that never materialized for me,
Yeah. You
unfortunately.
know, we not bragging. We keeping it 100. Ask our people in the hood. I'm telling you.
All right, man. I want to get off into the NBA now, Ian. I want to talk about what we've been talking about for a while now. We've been looking and trying to see where Jimmy Butler was going to go as far as a team, but it seems like now, man, they were saying that he was supposed to come back and report to the team. This dude ain't report back to the team, and it's a lot of things going on right now with them, man. And they suspended him 7 games, and they said that it was because conduct detrimental to the team. And we talked about that several times, just kicking in and running errands. And the first thing we said was, man, we know Pat ain't gonna be playing with that foolishness, man. He ain't gonna re-sign him, so he might as well just do what he got to do this year. And now he acting disgruntled like he's acting, man. Pat, he feel like if something can benefit him or he can get something out of that deal, Jimmy as far as gone, before the trade deadline.
Okay, people. Here's the situation. We got Jimmy Butler playing for the Miami Heat. Okay. Remember, y'all, Jimmy ain't no shabby player. He ain't no basic player. Hey, this is one of the top 20 paid players in the NBA, meaning that this year he making about $50 million. Okay. He has decided that, yeah, even at age 35, I still got game. And y'all should go ahead and extend me now. That was supposed to happen at the end of last year. Pat Riley came out and flat out said, no, 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 we're not extending Jimmy Butler, okay? We're going to see what happened next year and go from there. So the season went on, and Jimmy's utilization was different because he got a young team, and quite frankly, that team could use him, but they don't necessarily need him,
No,
okay? So because of that, Jimmy got less playing time, and he felt some type of way. So now we get to the point where Jimmy starts to take stuff outside of the locker room and takes it to the press, which is never a good thing. Keep stuff in house, in house. But Jimmy, when asked, "What's up with you, Jimmy? You ain't." acting right. You ain't playing right. What's the goodie? Ain't no goodie. I ain't happy. I'm happy living in Miami. I ain't happy playing on the court. You want to be gone? I ain't mad at it. They can do what they got to do. I'm straight on that. So of course, Pat Riley being the old school GM, player, coach. Remember, Pat Riley done did it all in the league. He
Yeah.
done been a player. He done been a coach. He done been a GM. He done been the man. He is the man. He got rings on rings on rings. Okay, you ain't got to listen to Jimmy Butler. I'm a grown ass man, dog. Jimmy, I run this. You don't like it? You can sit your ass down. So that's basically where we at right now. 7-game suspension, which just so happens to coincide with around the time the trade deadline goes on. Now here's the update, people. Let's get close so we can talk to you, okay? As that kid LA Knight says, let me talk to you. Check this out. They pretty much got a deal in the works. They want to do deals with the Phoenix Suns. They have a problem child of their own they dealing with over there at Phoenix. Now you tell that part of the story, Hugh, and then I'll get back to where we going from there.
Glad you asked that, man. That's right into the next segment too, man. Because my man's Bradley Beal definitely been like a problem child over there, which surprised me because it seems like he's a low key quiet dude. Do you feel the same way when how he was in Washington? It
Oh
seemed
yeah.
like he was a low key good, quiet dude and was loyal to the team. I don't think he liked the way he's being used over there in Phoenix, which I definitely agree with him on that. If you put me over there to execute and you ain't really giving me the time I need, and then when things go south, and you look at me like, oh, it's my fault. So he's looking at it now like he got the ball on the court right now, and it's funny because he got that no trade clause. But I definitely feel like right now, if it's a good deal on the making for him, he would definitely leave. So that's what I think he's waiting for to waive that no trade clause and say, okay, this is the team I want to go to, rather than making the decision for him.
Okay, I think he playing the ends against the middle myself.
Mhm.
Understand, Bradley Beal. They trying to get you in Miami, okay? Miami, where unlike Phoenix, there is no state sales tax. So you making more money. You
Hmm.
actually getting a bit of a raise just going there, first of all. Second of all, it's set up to where you could be that dude on that squad. Right now,
Absolutely.
you take Butler out. Who the best player on that Miami squad right now?
Bam in the bio.
And after him, no. We got to throw Tyler Hero in that mix.
Okay, yeah.
Tyler Hero is a good player.
Okay,
He
yeah, my bad.
about All-Star
My
ish
bad.
level.
Yeah. He's
So,
no pushover.
but the bottom line is you put Bradley Beal over there, Bradley Beal, you automatically at least the second best player on that squad, if not the best player.
Hey man, whatever happened to Duncan Robinson over there, man? He's on the milk
I think he's
bottom.
still with them, but he basically 3-point specialist. You know how that go.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have a couple nights where you be like, oh, he got 40, okay. And then you look up like, oh, he ain't even playing. It's like that with him.
Sorry for disrespecting my man's Tyler like that too. He is nice.
Yeah, Tyler Hero is that hero. But anyway, long story short is the salaries kind of match up
They do.
and the age is around about the same. I think Bradley Beal a couple of years younger than Butler, but bottom line is you can't trade Jimmy Butler for just nobody because he make too much money. You can't trade Bradley Beal for just nobody because he make too much money. And they both still decent players, so you gotta get something out the deal. If you trade them for each other and add with a little bits and pieces you need to make it even, that seems like the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
But the key is right now, you know how the NBA is set up. People like to dictate their own terms, okay? And that's where we are right now with Jimmy and Bradley. Of course, Jimmy has said point blank, at this point, I don't give a where I go. I prefer certain teams, and who's on that preferred list? Phoenix Suns. Bradley Beal basically said, okay, I ain't really trying to get traded. I just want to get my PT back. But you look at that Phoenix squad, they ain't no better or no worse with him or without him. So
Pretty much.
Go ahead and sign off on it, Bradley, and make it happen for yourself.
And just be honest, that
Enjoy your
appearance
time
has
in
been
Miami.
real. That
And
appearance has
bottom
been
line,
real.
you already know you're not about to get over on Pat Riley. So if Phoenix can't make the deal, whoever else trying to do it, you better come with some stuff.
I seen too that my man's on Bradley Bill is slightly younger than him. He's 31, but still they stay
Yeah,
in that same boat. But then too, we've noticed too with a lot of injuries with Jimmy Butler, man, they starting to pile up. We see that every year. And I
right.
think
Not
what
to
really
mention,
hurt
remember, with
him,
Jimmy 35, we already know his mindset. I'm going to cruise through the regular season. I'll really turn it up once playoff time get here.
yeah,
Because playoff Jimmy is a thing.
because what hurt him is when he got hurt against Boston, man. It seemed like he hasn't really fully recovered from that, man. So yeah, I
Physically
definitely
or
want to see
mentally for
what
that
happens.
matter.
Yeah.
And then, of course, ever since that press conference when he came out with the Prince dude, ever since then, he been a little different. I'm just saying.
What was up with I've been seeing a lot of talking heads. They were pissed, man, especially if you're a Laker fan. The 20 point loss and the blowout from the Dallas Mavericks, man, they didn't have Luca, Clay Thompson, or Kyrie Irving playing. They ought to get beat like that, man. What is going on over there in LA, man? And I didn't really want to talk about it at first, but then talking heads gonna talk about it, and people always talking about LA, kind of like your Dallas Cowboys. But what's next with these
Or
dudes,
they
man? They
gang.
can do out like that.
I mean, bottom line, I personally feel like it's much to do about nothing. It's just one of them nights in the NBA. I mean, think about it. This is why we say 82 games might be a bit too many. Because we already get in the situation where even though you're supposed to be playing at least 65 games to get consideration for all the after season awards, these players ain't caring about that. It's set up now to where, okay, yeah, granted, I make 40, 50, $60 million, but guess what? Every now and then, I'm tired. I'm a little sore. I'm gonna have a back issue or a spasm, something like that, and I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm gonna be fine the next day, mind you. The very next day, I'm gonna come out and shoot and score 30. But that night, I'm gonna rest. Understand? Yeah, Luca legitimately hurt right now. Cause trust me,
Mhm.
if Luca wasn't hurt, he be playing. Kyrie
Period.
just basically decided to take the day off. Okay, Clay, oh, they just gave him the day off. They basically set that up on some Popovich type stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
let's keep it 100.
You know what I
So,
noticed too?
last night LeBron decided he wanted to play, and AD decided he wanted to play. The rest of the squad, they decided to take the night off, and that's the problem with the Lakers this year. Basically, even with AD and LeBron stepping up, if they don't get some of that behind them, and Reeves have his days, he might want to show up, and Achimura, he have maybe once every other week he show up, and the rest of the bench just kind of there right now. So you know, I think the Lakers will do enough to where they at least get into the play-in game. But in terms of them being one of the dominant forces in the West right now, so this game in my mind, okay, they lost, and
Question that I want to ask is now, man, since we're on the topic, and when you said 82 games might be too many, you know who benefit for only 82 games, though, man? We talked about this several times before, and it's going to be brief. We talk about it. If the MLB just had 82 games and then the NBA had 65, I think that that'll not only help the NBA as far as their ratings and players really wanting to play and be excited about playing because they're not going to have to go through the rough struggle of the year. And we've seen it in baseball, man. That COVID year when they played 82 games, man, that's probably one of the most exciting times I've seen in baseball.
yeah, everything considered, understood. I mean, yeah, definitely baseball should cut down, NBA should cut down, WNBA should probably add a few games.
Agreed.
I'm good with them playing about 50, 55 games in the W.
That'd be nice.
I think that's actually a nice number between 55 and 60 for both leagues. Because keep in mind, Hugh, if you do it that way, that gives you time to set both of them up to where they could get some equal time in there and get their own shine outside of the NFL season. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So people won't be getting so banged up too, man. Because you know what's crazy? When you said that, I remember one time we was running errands, and I was like, "Damn." I was like, E, what's up with Boston? And I was looking at their record and I was questioning, like, man, what's up with them, man? They usually play better than this. Then when I looked up E and I seen that game, or I looked at the score and look who all was playing, man, they've been doing that Papa Big more than anybody this year, man. It be games you won't have Tatum and Jalen Brown, or you won't have Kristaps Porzingis because he injury prone, and there's a lot of guys be missing on that team,
Right,
man.
but you got to realize it's kind of smart from their standpoint. Remember, they played more games than any team in the NBA last year.
I agree.
Then on top of that, you got to add the fact, and that did play a factor to last night's game. Also, you got some people that played in the Olympics on
Mhm.
that squad. So, they didn't get the standard summer that they normally would get. So
Agree.
that's why you get Tatum taking an extra day or two, and Brown and the other guy,
Kristaps Porzingis.
Mega Man. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Barry White.
That's bad. I keep calling that dude Mega Man, but that's what he looked like, dude.
That's
That's
funny.
what he looked like. But yeah, they basically try to get them some little extra rest that they won't get once playoff time come. But yeah,
Yeah.
bottom line is, I understand it's gonna change the records in the league and all of that if they go down to that fewer games, but it's 2025. We gotta start looking at stuff differently. The world's a different place. Hey. Some of them workers, particularly like in baseball and whatnot, they ain't gonna be broken. I mean, 511 wins for Cy Young and 5,000 something strikeouts. No, ain't nobody touching that the way the game is set up now.
Not how it used to be. It got to the point. It
LeBron,
got
the highest scoring player of all time, ain't nobody breaking his record.
there ain't gonna be too many people gonna try to put in that many years to
I
break
mean,
it.
like I said, even if they went to 90 or 100 games, I don't see nobody breaking LeBron record because he don't look like he about to quit no time soon. And he already got the record plus a couple thousand more points.
Mm-hmm. Just imagine if he come in and he stay for another year or two, like you said, and wait for his
Right.
son.
If I remember right, the closest person to him right now is KD. Hell, KD damn near 37.
He up there in age.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy too, man, because the way everything is set up now. But then it's crazy too because, yeah, like you said, even though Boston and a lot of these teams taking off, taking the least like a day here or there, man, I had to look at it too, and we talked about it a little earlier. Like, yeah, man, they might be taking that time off, and Cleveland look like world beaters, and Oklahoma and all these teams. But when we talked about what would it come down to at the end, I was like, it's gonna be hard as hell to beat a healthy Boston Celtics team in 7 games.
Like I said, the chance of them repeating look pretty good at the moment. We'll see how it all play out. It's still a lot of year left, and injuries are always going to play a factor. But right now, they looking good.
Yeah, I want to get into like the college football playoff, which starts back on tonight.
All right,
Which
well, let's hit the locker room and talk about it, shall we?
yeah,
All right,
sir.
here we go.
Damn, that's dope. I like that.
We'll talk football. Might be in the football space to do it. Let's go.
Number 6, Penn State versus number 7, Notre Dame.
Now, Hugh, let me get into it before you go
Mhm.
there. All right, now you know how we are about certain teams and how they deal with stuff, right? You basically like that with teams like the Boston Celtics and you know your teams you kind of like that with. I'm like that with teams like Penn State
That's
and
funny.
what's the other team that I'm always messing with? You know who it is.
Team down south.
Yeah, definitely that one. I mean, we're getting to them in a minute. But anyway, I feel like Penn State then overachieved all season. They basically did a good job in the Big Ten that was basically down this year, okay? It clearly was the SEC, even though it may not appear based on what we got playoff wise, but the SEC was definitely the most dominant league in college football this year. Then it was the Big Ten just pretty much by default because everybody else, they wasn't quite as good as those two leagues. That being said, Penn State was one of the better teams in the Big Ten, but still not a team where ideally, say, if this was a year where we had the 4-team playoff or the 2-team playoff, they wouldn't even be in the discussion at all. And they playing that damn team, Notre Dame, and we said it all along, Hugh. They was in the playoff from get-go. The only thing that was going to take them out of the playoffs is they lost too many games. As long as they kept it around one or two losses, they was going to be in there. And the way the playoff is set up now, they're going to still be in there because they're the one major team that don't have a conference to where, okay, you can't exclude them because they played in the ACC or whatever, whatever. So as long as they keep winning like this, they automatically in until they not. But
What's
that being said,
crazy?
this is a pretty decent Notre Dame team. I do believe they're a better team than that Penn State team, and would not be surprised that they not only win the game, but they blow Penn State out. All right, what's your thoughts, Hugh?
I had to agree with you, man. But it's one thing that I definitely had to say too, man. It's two brothers playing in this game. You know, two brothers who coaches, and I didn't know Marcus Freeman was that young, man. 38. You know, but it's gonna be a good contest. But like you said, man, on the way Notre Dame playing, man, and the way they punked out Georgia, ain't no way. I think Penn State gonna even make it close. So yeah, I have them by like 14 and a half. Meaning when I say that Notre Dame, I got them by 14 and a half, man. They're too aggressive, man. I've never seen them be this aggressive, man. They look like they could have easily fit along in the SEC or the Big Ten, you know, even though they're independent. But yeah, man, they had that dog in them, man. They showed a team like you know, Georgia that hey man, you know, we can match pound for pound with the same type of intensity. I don't know if Penn State can do that, man. I might be wrong. I want to see and look at this game and see, but I doubt it, man. I don't think they're going to be as intense and as aggressive as Notre Dame has been and how they've showed up, especially when soon as the playoffs kicked off, they took it
Right.
to another level.
And as we know, more times than not, Penn State in big games over the last few years under Coach Franklin. I can't breathe. I'm scared.
This
I
probably
fully
going to
expect
save
that
this
to
for
happen.
good. This
I think
probably
they gonna
saves.
punk out Hugh. Them boys soft. They soft.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's gonna be one of them beat downs too, man. And the good treat about it is after we get this game too, man, we get another game that comes up too, man, this week, and it's gonna be on Friday, and of course it's gonna be um, that red team OSU versus the Texas right now, and right now none of the teams really scare me in this whole college playoff, but I feel like this game can be even. You
Right.
know,
I mean, because see, think about it, Hugh. We know who won last year's college playoff. It was Michigan. That Michigan team will probably wipe the floor with any of these four teams,
agree.
truth be told. And that wasn't even Michigan's best team. I feel like the year before, when Michigan got to the final and didn't win, was actually a better team than that national championship team from last year. That's another story. That being said, it's three things that bothers me about this playoff. One, the fact that if you don't have regular TV, you're not gonna see none of this. Okay, it's crazy how these games ain't on ABC, NBC, CBS. They should. I think that maybe the national championship game might be
Yeah,
on it,
that is.
but you know, the whole playoff should be on one of these platforms where you can actually see it. That would help.
That's
Two,
definitely taking their ratings down too, E, like you said, because you know, they don't have a lot of their games on national TV, and that's what's been one of the issues with them. Most of it all's been on like you know the cable networks.
right? Two, is it me or they not advertising this nearly as much as in the past?
Not at all,
Even
E.
on the network where the actual game gonna be on. ESPN, I don't recall seeing a lot of promo for it.
Not really. Only reason why I know that the games were coming on is because I was getting alerts. But other than that, man, they wasn't really advertising it on TV like they should be, man. It's basically something that they need to fix, man. You know, we already talking about just fixing the playoffs as a whole, but man, you could advertise at least better so people can know what's going on because right now it seems like, man, people are not really that interested.
I know I'm not. And then think about it. Out of these four teams that's left, yeah, obviously it's gonna be several players from these four teams that end up going to the NFL. But out of these four teams, Hugh, do you see any players where it's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see that dude play tonight?
Not necessarily. I can't say that.
Nope, I cannot.
It's
So
sad.
yeah, at the moment they got a problem, okay? They're going to have to work it out and fix it, but there's that. But it's interesting though because keep in mind, college football definitely on an increase to a degree. Did you see the article that talked about how the college football 24 game is one of the highest selling sports games ever
Absolutely,
on
absolutely.
any platform for any video game, period? I was very impressed by that.
Me and you
So
both.
much so that, they actually considering something they said they would not do, which is actually make a college basketball game. Because they said the last one did not sell worth a damn. But I think it's a damn good idea to do that. It's basically the same people that make the football game, make the basketball game. I definitely would get it.
Yeah, but the football took it up a notch, and it was cool too to see some of the college kids playing in a dorm, like some of the football players. And it was cool to see like the game where you had Travis Hunter on offense and having him on defense and having him pick itself off with Shador Sanders when he picked himself and ran it back for the touchdown. That's cool to see those guys and just really enjoy how they play and how they input those guys in the game. So yeah, that's pretty cool to
Right.
see.
And hopefully they'll do it like that for all the games from now on, where if you win the game, you get the game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do believe it's set up for that with the NBA also, where okay, if you win the game, you automatically get a game. I think that's cool that they do that.
I definitely like that whole concept, man. And that should be the way it be, period. If I'm in the
Right.
game, man, you should give me a game.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, keep in mind, people, when we say it's like that, I'm talking about whether you went to Penn State or Penn State Eastern Conference Community College. If it's on the game and your team on that game, you got a game.
Pretty much.
So that's like thousands of games that they gave away, and they still made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's actually the most streamed game on any of the streaming platforms right now. You'll find more streams for people playing college football than the actual Madden. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's new. That's definitely something that changed the game in general.
Absolutely.
I want to get into like the NFL. If you want, you can take a commercial break because we're not gonna really talk about a lot of stuff that really happened because the only game that really mattered was that week 18 that is, was the Sunday night game with the Lions and the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, well, basically, we'll talk some NFL with y'all. We're going to talk about the last week, some of the stuff that happened. We
Yeah.
definitely want to talk about what happened
Hard.
in basically the Black Monday type scenario. It wasn't nearly as much fallout as we thought
Wasn't
it
as
would
black
be.
as it was normally,
But there is a kind of disturbing trend that went on these last couple of days that I want to talk about. But we're gonna take a commercial break. When we come on back, we're gonna talk some of that NFL, and of course, we definitely got to get into some of the playoff matchups this weekend.
Yeah.
So we
Wild
will do
card.
that. This is the Guru Sports Session. We be back. What up, Meech?
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings. Ha! With Big Meech.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech.
Ha! Darling.
Hold up.
What's going on, y'all? We are back. This is the Google Sports Session. I am your co-host, Eba, and that is the host there, young Hugh Lee, the sports guru. And y'all know what time it's time for y'all favorite part of the show. We about to talk NFL football. Let's hear it, y'all. Yeah. All right. You know, this was the last week of the season. Finally, y'all, we in them playoffs. But before we go there, we got to talk about a couple things that happened last week, and then we'll get into the playoff matchups. Hugh, go ahead and start it off with us, bruh.
Sour taste and
Hold on, we got to
some.
get back in the locker room. Wait a minute. There you go. Let's go.
It was a lot of sour taste in teams' mouth, man. I think a lot of teams were pissed off at Kansas City from resting players, and I know you heard me talk about it. For them to be 15-1 and then having to play on Christmas, and Patrick Mahomes wasn't too happy about that. He wanted to spend time with his family, but when they ended up playing that game, got it over with, and they were 15-1, I feel like they deserved to take that time off of Week 18, and it was a few teams that did that as well, but I was surprised, man, because some of the teams needed help to get into the playoffs, like the Cincinnati Bengals. They handled their business, but then you had teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers who lost 4 games straight and just basically barely crawled into the playoffs. Denver got a gift from all the guys being out on Kansas City, but really, what surprised me though, man, was that Atlanta Falcons game, man. I was definitely happy to see Bryce Young doing better, but I was really surprised because I thought that the way Michael Penix was playing, that they was going to pull that game off and give them at least a fighting chance, because it was pretty good though, because these teams played hard and they played to the end, like that Atlanta Falcons and Carolina game. And then on top of that, the Saints wasn't giving that game away easy neither for the Buccaneers. So it was some really good competition. But I want to give a shout out too to my man's Mike Evans, 11 years straight with 1,000 yards. Man, it was a few good things that happened in the last week of football. And then of course we got to save the finale for last. But yeah, it was a few good bright spots. But other than that, man, it was a lot of players resting.
See, here's the thing. I want to shout out most of the NFL that last week, because a lot of teams, they could have said, fuck it, it's the last week. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't trying to play. And granted, a lot of backups and stuff played this weekend. We know that. But for the most part, Kansas City aside, obviously, most teams went into it like, okay, it's the last game, but we still trying to win this thing. Understand, the last couple weeks of the season, about 4 or 5 different teams could have ended up with the number 1 pick. But because most of the teams went out there and played their hardest to actually win, we ended up getting a number 1 scenario that we wasn't looking to see. I mean, go back maybe like 3 weeks ago, I believe the Giants had the number 1 pick and it wasn't even close. Then it was the Patriots, then it was the Raiders, and finally it ended up being Tennessee getting the number 1 pick. All those teams, they went out there and they played. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't like, okay, we just gonna go ahead and suck it up, charge to the game. It's crazy because when we look at the situation with the New England Patriots, it seemed like because they actually went out and played and tried to win that game, that's part of what cost young Gerard Mayo his job, because he basically smirked them up out of the number 1 pick.
I definitely felt like that was the intentions, man, because when I saw that, I said, man, the first thing I was looking at was Joe Milton don't look that bad out there, man, and I was definitely happy for him and that opportunity. But I said, I said, man, because what was so weird about it is the 2 weeks prior to Week 18, they were saying, even though things are kind of bad right now in New England as far as their team and that roster, and they wanted to get a roster rebuild, they was going to stick with Gerard Mayo. And I said, well, why would that even be the case when he only is in his first season? You're not even really giving that man a chance to grow or even try to get his culture in the building. And then after that, that game, before the game even kicked off, they said, we're thinking about possibly moving in another direction. But then, of course, when they won that game, I said, yeah, he sure enough will be gone. And I'd be surprised if he stay on that roster because, like you said, they had a chance to be the number 1 seed. I think, what are they now, like the 4th in the draft?
And then when you look at it, he won exactly the same amount of games that Coach Belichick won the year before. Again, Hugh, we talk about this all the time. When it comes to those head coaches, that they tend to get less of a string than the coach that don't look like us, okay?
Hmm.
Think about it. Out of the people that actually did get fired, you got Merrill got fired, you got Antonio Pierce that got fired in the Raiders. And come on, man. You see what the Raiders was working with. How you supposed to succeed when for the pretty much the whole time you've been in charge, you ain't had no real quarterback? No
Yeah,
disrespect to the kids that went out there and Uncle Rico and all them, but one none of them no real NFL quarterbacks to work with. You let your best running back go. Basically about 10 games in, your best defensive player got hurt for the rest of the year. You were set up to fail, man.
Adams got shipped off to the Jazz.
Yeah,
It,
you gave away your best wide receiver. I mean, yeah. How you supposed to win like that?
and it's sad too because when you have Connell and Uncle Rico, man, what more did you expect? They really had the players over there. They kind of reminded me of New England with the exception. New England at least went out and grabbed Drake May, so they have their franchise quarterback right now.
Right. I mean, hell, you could have gave them Andy Reid. He wasn't winning nowhere with no Gardner Minshew. Come on, man. Come on.
They did those guys tough, man.
Right.
And it was basically Bill Belichick's roster besides the draft, most of it. And we knew how bad that year was. And the melee and the difference between him and how he was colliding with Robert Kraft. And then on top of that, you got this crappy team out there, man, that we talked about. They got like fourth and fifth guys that'll be on practice squads, honestly, right now. That was their wide receivers. They have a really bad O line, and you could just go down the whole line with them, man. It's probably one of the worst teams. I thought they were going to have the worst record, period, at first.
Right. And understand, you did learn something. In terms of what you drafted now in New England, you probably don't need no quarterback. It looked like not only do you got one quarterback, you might
You too.
have two. So even if you don't get the number one pick, I think you could get some decent draft capital for that number 3 and number 4 pick, considering this draft. And in the end, New England still needs so many things. Having a number one pick, it wasn't gonna do you no good anyway.
They need a really solid draft, man, in my
They
opinion.
need a couple solid drafts just to be in consideration.
Yeah.
But yeah, another insight into week 18. Was this the last game for Aaron Rodgers? What's your thoughts?
What was crazy about that too, E, we were seeing it at the beginning and we was like, oh man, this is a bad game. And it did start off bad, but it was crazy at the end, man. The way, Aaron Rodgers bounced back and they ended up beating Miami because I didn't think there was no way in hell that they had that opportunity. But Miami squandered a big opportunity, man. But then regardless of the fact of what happened with Denver, it still wouldn't have mattered. So I
Yeah, I
was
mean,
really
in
surprised.
an ideal world, Aaron showed us enough in that last game to where if this was his last game, he should be cool with it. But he still, again, showed us enough to where
He can
it's
come
still
back.
a little something there.
Hmm.
I could see it. But bottom line is, if you the Jets, yeah, you can go ahead and not retire. It's just you ain't gonna be finishing here. He got to be done there. They got to start over.
Man, I think too, New England might have been pissed off too because, like you were saying, when you were saying they might have played themselves out of the top pick, but we knew Sador or Cam Ward was going to be one of them top two picks, but they even might have,
Not necessarily, Hugh. Not
yeah, agree,
necessarily.
agree. But
Because
then
most
they
of the
might have,
draft boards, you know who they picking as number one?
and what's crazy too, Travis Hunter can
That
possibly
guy.
be that pick. But still, I thought that they was going to go after Will Johnson, so I didn't really think it mattered. But now on the new draft board, I still wouldn't be upset with them drafting this guy, Arizona's wide receiver.
Yeah, like I
Considering
said,
the
because they
money.
need so much in New England, it don't too much matter who they get.
No,
They pretty much need everything not named quarterback. Okay. Okay, Steve said he a decent running back, but they could definitely use a second one.
for sure.
Wide receiver, tight end. Come on, man.
They can just clean up
Offensive line, defensive line. They need a lot.
because Hunter Henry definitely getting up there in age. And then, you got Austin Hooper's getting up there in age. They need
All
to
them
get money.
secondary players on most other squads. Come on now.
Hmm.
They basically need to replenish the whole supply.
Yeah, because I'm
And
getting in
apparently
trouble.
that includes the head coach now. So,
which is messed up too, because like I was telling one of my homeboys who was talking to me about it, my man's G, I said, check this out, bro. I said they wanted Mike Vrabel, and I don't know why it didn't materialize last year because that's where I thought Mike Vrabel was going to go. But I said I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up landing there this year.
Yeah. Now understand people, as we went on, and we'll talk about the big game, of course, in a minute, but now we at the end of the season and we figured Black Monday was gonna be pretty crazy because there was a lot of teams that had some coaches like, yeah, this gotta be it. But the crazy part is most of these teams have decided, at least for the time being, you good. We just gotta work with you.
I
I
was
mean, for example, the Giants keeping both coach and GM, I was stunned by that.
Yeah, because I thought Sheldon and my man's Dayball was gone after this season. But to tell them, because I know Jim Moore still said though, he was like, "Hey, listen," he was like, "You guys better get it in shape." He said, "Because yeah, I'm giving you a chance right now." But John Mara was like, "Nah, man, I'm not just doing this just to do it right now. Y'all need to take care of business. You know, I'm giving y'all the chance to prove yourselves now." And you know, John Mara, man, he got that money, and if they don't do what they need to do, he'll definitely find their replacements. But I definitely was shocked that he stayed. More than anything, man, all the crazy stuff that's going on in Miami right now, man, with Mike McDaniel and Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
man.
I mean that definitely was a thing that happened that last game of the season also where it appears in the fourth quarter Tyreek was like, I'm good. I can start my vacation early. I ain't playing no more. And out of all the people in the NFL, that was one of the last people you expected to pull a wide receiver diva move, but apparently that's the case. And of course, when they asked him in the press conference, "What's good with you, Tyreek?" Tyreek was like, "Man, I'm done, man. Open the door. I'm up out of here. I ain't trying to be back." Keeping in mind that Tyreek still got 2 years left on his contract. You think he's trying to pull an NBA type move, or what do you think was going on there?
I definitely think he's trying to pull for an NBA move for more money, or if he just wanted to be traded, man, if somebody would take some of that money off of the Dolphins salary cap, because the Dolphins ain't gonna want to try to pay everything. But yeah, I thought that was kind of selfish of him, man. But then, it was a lot of injuries on that team too. You had like Tua injured, and that's one thing. That's one thing that concerns me too, because Tua, they definitely need to look into a quarterback now, because that dude one injury away from not playing in the NFL. Period. And
Right.
you had a lot of players who was banged up over there too. You barely had, Jalen Ramsey over there, Bradley Chubb. It was so much. Jalen Phillips and the guys being hurt. It was just a bad year with injuries. But at the same time, what I noticed when the Miami Dolphins, when they dominate, they beat like under 500 teams. 15, 500 or greater, it seems like they can't match up with them, man. Like they don't show up for some reason.
It's either that or they basically end up playing somewhere cold, and it seems like wherever they play somewhere
Mhm.
cold, they ain't the same type of squad. So
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely something they're going to work out in the off season. It's a lot more teams with issues more so than teams that did well. But damn all them. Get to the big game. Let's talk about
Yeah, man, I definitely want to talk about the big game because I was froze that whole day, man. I cleaned up and did everything so I didn't have to do nothing and focus on that game. And it was the Minnesota Vikings coming in to play the Detroit Lions, and I was
it.
definitely surprised with that one because I knew it was going to be a good game, but I was a little, I was happy, very happy, somewhat sad because my fantasy got kind of flipped upside down. But I said, hey, long as my team won and got the first round bye, I feel like with any team, if any team in the league needed that bye, it was us because how banged up we are. Thank God we got a lot of players that's coming back, but just the heroics of my man's though, man. A man that a lot of people, and I'm pointing at you as some of the Detroit Lion fans when we got the running back at the number 12 pick. Y'all, oh man, we got a running back. I understood at first because they thought we was gonna keep DeAndre Swift, but then I knew once we got my man's Jada Gibbs and We ended up getting my man's David Montgomery. I said, yeah, Swift, the odd man looking in because he was always banged up and he never really played a full season for us out of the years he's been playing for us. People dogged him out. They didn't like the Sam Laporta deal. They didn't like barely anything we did. But then
Remember, they didn't like the J-Mo deal either. He
now,
hurt. What he gonna do for us?
now look at y'all, man. You know, Gibbs had the game of his career. And right now, Gibbs is definitely outplaying Bijan Robinson. And a lot of people who said, I'd rather have Bijan Robinson, yeah, but still, he did a few things for that team and he did well at times. But we have a guy who can run the ball and catch the ball out the backfield. That dude had 139 yards. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground and one through the air. So he basically carried the team on his back, man, in that game. And I was definitely proud of him because I know I was seeing a lot of y'all texts and I was just so shocked, like I can't believe this happening before my eyes. But the main thing I looked at is when I looked at the screen and you were saying, man, Jahmyr Gibbs having the game of his career. And I definitely was happy about that. But like I said before, everybody give flowers to Ben Johnson, and they're well deserved. But damn, but with the job my man's Aaron Glenn did, man, that's what my man's Dan Campbell was talking about recently in the press conference. Like, you'd be a fool not to try to get that guy a coaching job if he's looking for one. For what he did with that team that really had less talent on defense than we ever had. Like I said, it was a blessing that we got some of the guys back, like Anzalone. We got Maben and a couple more guys who will be back soon once the playoffs kick in. But to have that team and then the way they looked against the 49ers that 1 week and then to step out and do what they did, the person I was really surprised with, and I like his passion, man, was Amik Robertson. I was shocked when I heard that he was in the locker room and saying, I want to take on the responsibility of Justin Jefferson. And I was like, I don't know about that, because he said he played him in high school in the past and he shadowed him well. Man, I wasn't expecting that performance, man. That dude only had 3 catches for 54 yards. And then how did you feel about him complaining, though, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison basically? And I can't even say Jordan Addison said anything. I'm going to say Justin Jefferson said that we was holding him on every play just about. And, that was the reason why he felt like he didn't get off the way he did. And I'm like, come on, man, you really, not going to give that dude credit, man. I mean, what's up with that, man? I thought that was Bush League, bro.
Okay, we're gonna get into all that, but allow me to be proud for a minute. Can I be proud for a minute? As a Lions fan,
Yeah.
that's something for many, many years. Who would have ever thought we would be here, y'all? Understand, I'm gonna say this on the air straight up, no chaser. No matter what happens moving forward, I'm proud of these Detroit Lions, okay? I never thought I'd see the day where the Detroit Lions would go 15-2 in a season, okay? I lived through it all. 2-14, 1-15,
16.
0-16. I was here for all of those seasons, okay? I was happy as hell the day we got Barry Sanders and just knew at that point we would go to the Super Bowl someday. It didn't happen. Felt the same way when we got Stafford and of course Megatron. Didn't happen. Here we are now with perhaps the best coach the Lions have ever had. Please let us give Dan Campbell his credit because he's not going to get it, okay?
Not
When
at
they
all.
do Coach of the Year, he's not going to win.
Not at all.
It's unfortunate. Just like it's unfortunate that on the other side, the Kansas City coach, Andy Reid, not going to win. It's unfortunate, truthfully, that Patrick Mahomes not going to win MVP because you could argue he damn near the MVP every year. The way he got the Chiefs. The Chiefs is not that without him. You see what the Chiefs look like when he don't play? I'm just saying. But back to my Lions. Think about all the great stories that are taking place before our eyes. Jahmyr Gibbs, where, a lot of people draft boards, they was like, he ain't no first round pick. What the hell y'all doing, Lions? Y'all actually traded up to get that dude? Surprise, sucker. Let's talk about J-Mo. And granted, I'm still a little concerned about J-Mo's off-field activities and some of his decisions on the field at times kind of concern me. But when you look at his pure talent, it's undeniable, okay? Let's talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. 4th round pick, okay? On his way to his 3rd Pro Bowl in a row. among the top 5 receivers in the league in catches and touchdowns again. Talk your shit, Amon Ra. Literally on your podcast, talk your shit.
Hey, let me hit you with something right quick. Did you know at first when I was looking at this was a while ago and I sent you that video? Remember the video I sent you with my man's? You know I ain't really already like George Pickens, but when I heard that, like, damn, you trying to bring Amon St. Brown into your foolishness when he was saying, yeah, man, the reason why I don't get the ball and be able to get as many numbers as catches, a game is because, I am not like a slot receiver. I'm one of those guys who be on the outside all the time. And most times the cornerbacks, they shadow the best player on the team. And he said, not like these slot merchants, like the Amon St. Browns. And I said, damn, he was the first name that actually came out of your mouth. And I thought Amon, you know how that dude is. He don't back down to nobody. He'll call you out about that, man. But this time he did it in a slick way. Don't you know, man, that he got slot merchandise now, man, that's going off the shelves? How
Oh
do you
yeah.
feel about that?
Not only that, but did you see the cake? If you local, you
Yeah,
know what I'm
hey,
talking about, the Amon
definitely
Ra
seen
cake.
that cake. Let's see.
Apparently, they're gonna try to make smaller models that people can get for their Super Bowl party. So yeah, definitely shout out to Amon Ra. Because remember, in his own family, he wasn't supposed to be the best receiver. Okay,
Mhm.
and look how it turned out for him. Um, People like Anzalone, and you already know that. He wasn't my favorite early on. I
Hey,
used to
you
clown
see how he impact
Anzalone a
that
bit.
game, though.
But yeah, basically he changed that game. Him being back in there and helping to run the defense, and of course, got to get Aaron Glenn all his flowers.
Got
Okay,
to, man.
a master class on how you take a defense that got several deficiencies and come up with your best game plan ever. Bottom line is he earned several millions of dollars that game alone. Because I'm sorry, the only reason he don't get a job is one or two reasons. One, the Lions say, look, we got to have you. We're going to pay you head coach like money to stay. Or two, somebody done bump their head and don't understand what real coaching is. He going to get somebody's head coach job. And whatever job he don't get, Ben Johnson going to get, because right now they are the two best coaching candidates in the league without question. Not named Grable, of course. But again, give Dan Campbell credit. Y'all remember the press conference? We're gonna bite kneecaps. And oh, look at this clown, this big meathead. Man, he gonna be out of here after the first year. How you like him now? He the coach that's coaching so good that they got other coaches trying to do what we do. Emo
You
kind
see
of was
that
like,
last
yeah,
play?
we going for it on fourth down too. We're tough. We're tough like the Lions. No, you ain't. Not my Detroit Lions.
You seen somebody try to do? I forgot who it was, man. I think it was.
And then every other team in the league now going for it on fourth down.
Did you see the hook and ladder botch play? I forgot who was
Yeah,
trying to execute it. I said, wow.
yeah.
Everybody got want to, be. Everybody don't want to be the Lions, but now you want to be the Lions.
Yeah, now
Me.
watch next year when they make the Madden. Everybody gonna want to play with the Ben Johnson playlist. You already know
Oh man, and had that Aaron Glenn defense, man. I
that
definitely
part.
am proud of them
But
dudes.
yeah, like I said, hopefully, of course, we move on to bigger and better things. But I'm just proud for the season we had. So win, lose, or draw, I ain't mad. Disappointed I might be in the end, but hey, I'm happy. I'm happy. We did our thing. And that being said, we're gonna get your predictions for the upcoming games in a minute, but we ain't seen the last of Minnesota. I have no doubt about that.
The one thing he said though is when he was like, "We'll see you in 2 weeks," man. I don't know, man. Stafford and might feel some kind of way about
Okay,
that,
well,
man.
let's get into it, Hugh. Let's talk about these playoff games. Let's make our predictions
Uh-huh.
and whatnot. Y'all know
All
the
right.
deal. If you out there in YouTube and Facebook world, you got your predictions among our predictions. Go ahead and put them in the comments. We will well, at least they'll be posted, okay? At this point, we always got to shout out our two people, Road to Stardom and Coach B. Y'all checking in right now. What up, there?
What's up, Rolling Coach V? I want to start off with the Saturday slate games, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Houston Texans.
All right, here's the thing, good people. Another person I'm very proud of this season in NFL is Coach Jim Harbaugh. Y'all know all the strife and strife that man went through during his tumultuous time at Michigan, where it seemed like every other year they wanted to get him fired. And he had them few years, much like Coach Day do right now with in that school down south. They can't beat those State. He got to get out of here. I don't care if he did have a winning season, blah, 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 blah. He not recruiting good. He can't get his own quarterback. He faced all that adversity, the cheating scandal, the whole thing, and won the whole shebang bang. And now he done went back to the league. And what have we said time and time again? Every place Coach Harbaugh done been,
You
he done
win.
won. Remember, last year I believe they was a top 5 or bottom 5 team, the San Diego Chargers. With the Los Angeles. They always gonna be San Diego. Me, I don't give a damn. But anyway, that team gonna move forward. They winning this one, Hugh. I think Harbaugh gets them motivated to play and gets them up, and they win this game. What's your thought?
Definitely because how shaky Houston has been, man. They look like a funky team now. They were looking so sharp at the beginning of the year to a really funky looking team. I think a lot of that has to do with, with Nico Collins getting double teamed, man. They don't really know what to do right now because you got Tank Dell who's injured and that hurt them tremendously. But then you already know with the Stephon Diggs injury, that kind of hurt them too. That was a huge
It
setback.
made them a whole different squad.
That line is not really that good neither, man. And you see
No.
all the pressure on my man's, CJ Stroud. And we didn't think that we'd see those deficiencies are really starting to show their ugly head right now. When you see how bad some of the things are on the team on paper, they look great for getting a lot of the guys in free agency, the Daniil Hunters and some of the guys that they put on defense and even on offense. But they still need to get that line together, and they still need to get their pieces. And I basically feel like this year or last year they overachieved, and this year they're starting to get back into the level where they normally should be. But yeah, I definitely have the Chargers by 7 in this one.
Yeah, I would definitely go with the same as far as that goes. Um, Again, good people, like you said, Houston is depleted. Their offensive line ain't what it need to be right now. Khalil Mack and Bosa are probably licking their chops. They coming to get CJ. It's gonna
Agreed.
hurt, bro. It's gonna hurt.
The next game on Saturday, the 8 o'clock game, and this game right here was basically already played like a couple weeks ago, but the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens at home. Man, I got the Ravens by like 9.5 in this one because I don't know what the hell's going on, but something's not right over there in Pittsburgh, man. You're starting to see Pickens starting to not be happy with my man's Russell Wilson too. Because remember at first he wasn't really happy with the way they did things with Justin Fields because he wasn't really getting the ball like that. But now you get the opportunities with Russell Wilson, and it's not materializing, man. He's just been dropping the ball or just been doing like a lot of silly things that's detrimental and hurting the team. But yeah, man, losing 4 games in a row, that was really tough for that team too, man. But yeah, I don't think that it's going to change in Baltimore. I definitely have Baltimore in a blowout victory.
I'm hard pressed to pick Baltimore to blow out Pittsburgh because the reason why they even in this playoff for real is the defense. Let's be honest. Yeah, they had a few good weeks on offense. Russ had figured some things out, but like you said, these last few weeks, I don't know what's going on with George Pickens. He definitely is something in that locker room. That's all I can tell you because it seemed like over the years we can already go back to Santana Holmes and them type of wide receivers. Uh, some about a disconnect between wide receiver playing Pittsburgh and Coach Tomlin and how he contends with all that. Because obviously he's a good coach. You don't not be a good coach and win basically have a winning season 20 years straight. But in the same token, when it comes to dealing with that particular part of the offense, some ain't quite gelling with those people. The Deontay Johnsons and hell, Martavius Bryant, Antonio Brown. The names go on and on.
Wallace,
Juju
Santonio
Schuster. I mean,
Holmes.
there's always been some type of issue with wide receiver with that squad. I don't know why that is, but they having a very bad time to figure that out now. Clearly, we know what they need to draft in this next draft, but for the time being, you're trying to win playoff games. And I'm sorry, between the disconnect of that and not gonna be able to really completely stop Lamar and or Henry enough to win that game, I definitely say it's Baltimore. I'm I just can't pick that 9.5. I figured TJ Watt got to have something to do with slowing that down to some degree.
What surprised me too is how well Bateman been playing. I don't think he get his flowers this year. You know, funny thing too, no pun intended. I didn't mean for this to happen, but he's not getting his flowers. But Zay Flowers getting all the flowers right now, man. That's funny because he has been playing good, but man, it's like Rashad Bateman been playing really good too, man. And
Right.
that
And
was
remember,
the credit
Zay
he
Flowers
deserved.
got hurt this last game, so he questionable to even play this one. That might be a factor.
Oh man, I didn't think about that. That's going to be a huge factor to probably make that game a little closer than what I've
But then, of
said
course,
too.
there's an X factor I want you to consider in that game. His name is likely because he's likely to score.
Yeah,
Because remember, they already got a good tight end with Andrews, but then we add that dude to the mix. You can't check everybody.
pretty
If you're
sure.
picking anytime touchdown people, I would definitely pick likely to get him one.
How do you feel moving to this next game, Devon Miller Bowl, Denver Broncos versus the Buffalo Bills?
That's funny. It's true, but that's funny. The Von Miller Bowl. But yeah, this ain't no real contest. We don't even gotta spend a lot of time on this. Denver, thanks for your participation. Here's your participation trophy. Accept this ass whooping with pride, okay?
Amen.
Have you seen the weather report this weekend?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be buku snow in Buffalo, but guess what? It's gonna be plenty cold. And
Yeah,
I understand Denver used to their share of cold, but that
not this
Buffalo
Buffalo,
cold hit different.
not that Buffalo cold, man. I
And you know
definitely
who
think
very
Denver.
well prepared for that Buffalo cold? That dude we call Superman. Yeah, look for Josh Allen to show up and show out in this game.
I
That's
actually,
gonna be the blowout of the weekend, I think.
actually got this one by 8.5. And I think
I
Von
take that
Miller.
8.5 with no problem.
Von Miller gonna go there and he gonna show out too, man. The picture was so funny online because it had him saying, "This is full circle for me," and he had a picture of Nino Brown crying with the gun in his hand, and that's when you seen what was going on and who he was facing. So I thought that was actually pretty funny to see. But yeah, this game's not even gonna be cold. So with the cold weather. And then on top of that, them being in Buffalo, how rowdy they are, man, I think they're going to show up. And the crazy thing about that, it's like you said, I'm not really trying to spend that much time on it either, but they lost so much, this year. A lot of people, they just let go because they couldn't afford it. They feel like Stephon Diggs didn't match with what they were trying to do. And they let those guys walk, man. And to really still be in this position right now.
Right. And I said then don't be as concerned about it as you was, but that being said, I still didn't pick Buffalo to be this good. So
Me and you both.
yeah, but no, that being said, I can't see Denver doing a damn thing about what Josh about to put on them. Not a
Not
damn.
at all. It's going to be a clinic. The Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles, the number 2 seed in the NFC. I actually got the Eagles, so I'm gonna take them by 4.5 on this one.
Now here's the thing. From the latest reports, that dude, Jalen Hurts, still ain't been cleared for protocol for the concussion yet. That makes this a little different. Now, understand it's so much talent on that Philadelphia team. I say they win this game regardless, but depending on who the quarterback, that changes my thoughts on how much the point spread gonna be.
Yeah, because they said he was practicing too before we got
And so
online.
assuming he gonna play, yeah, I'll go with that 4.5. But even if he gonna play, I would not be surprised if he a little bit rusty. Expect to
Absolutely.
get a big, big, big dose of that running back dude in this game. Okay, they rested him for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Sucks to be you, Giants.
No doubt.
Washington Commanders versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's gonna be a good one.
Now, see, this is the game I kind of struggle with here. You can walk me through this. Again, congratulations to the Commanders, dog. Y'all done turned it around real quick. The smartest thing you did was bring that dude Dan Quinn on. Smartest thing he did was to draft that dude Jalen Daniels. He done showed up and showed out. But again, the similarities to that dude RG3 is undeniable. I'm hoping that
Still,
it's not a similar result because if you remember that first year when They went to the playoffs with RG3. Wasn't that when he got that injury that particular day? Knock
Yeah.
on wood, that don't happen to JD. Because remember, one of the things they always talked about was they was concerned about how durable he would be at quarterback, considering how small he was. But
Agree.
he made it through the season. I think he'll make it through this. But that being said, Tampa Bay's defense, they're gonna have something schemed up for him. But I don't think it's gonna be enough to stop them from winning. I'm gonna pick the Commanders by about a field goal.
You know what? Actually, in this one, I might actually go with Tampa by a field goal, but then it's close enough to where I'm not afraid to do that because they're at home. But I wouldn't be surprised if they
We
win
would not be surprised if Tampa won either.
because you know
Definitely, Mike Evans is going to be a factor on the other side, but don't forget about the real scary Terry on the
and
side
that's
of the Commanders.
and that's one thing too, man. That's one of the reasons why I feel like the Commanders can beat them, and you know it wouldn't be no shock to me is because what they did to the Eagles, man. This was a team that had a healthy, team besides, at the time when Jalen Hurts went out and shit, and Kenny Pickett wasn't no pushover, man. He went in there and he went to business, but. Yeah, man, to put 5 touchdowns on the Eagles, I had to give that man credit where credit is due. And that's why I definitely feel like this one could be a close one. So I definitely agree with you.
Right. Like I say, it may be some question as to who might be MVP or defensive player of the year, whatnot. No doubt about who the rookie of the year is. It's
Absolutely
definitely
not.
that dude JD.
Absolutely not. And then we have the Monday slate game, the last Monday game, man, unless they do something next week on Monday. Um, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay, well, again, I've already gave y'all my prediction earlier. I think somehow, some way, Minnesota will bounce back and win that game. Understand? It's a couple people went to bed real mad. One of them was Sam Darnold. The other one definitely was that dude JJ. He gonna have something to prove in that game. And last time I checked, the Rams don't have nobody on that squad that's gonna be able to stop him 1-on-1. They don't have no Bill Robinson on that squad. They're gonna be looking to get him off early and often. Look for him to not only play well. I say he get a couple touchdowns out the deal.
I think Stafford them feeling some kind of way too after hearing what the coach had to say after that game.
Absolutely. So yeah, this ain't gonna be no 10-7 game. I expect this to be a shootout. The shootout that we didn't get this Sunday with the Lions in Minnesota. But when all is said and done, I think Minnesota pulls it off.
I actually have the Rams, and I'm gonna take them only by a point because
All right.
I think anybody can win this game right
Yeah,
here.
I can see it going either way. And then, of course, either matchup makes it real interesting because, of course, the winner of that game gets the Lions the following week. And, of course, Matthew coming back to Detroit is always an interesting scenario. And obviously, if Minnesota come back, yeah, we going to love that. The curious thing is, remember, they spent $2 million on tickets for Minnesota Vikings season ticket holders to come to Detroit for that game. And the majority of those people took them tickets and sold them to Detroit fans. I don't see Minnesota doing that again. So your fourth field gonna be nice and loud.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be some good stuff going on this weekend. We might have some upsets. We had them last year, but yeah, just looking forward to it, man. It's finally playoff time, and I hope the games be interesting. We're gonna have a few blowouts, but I definitely hope it be worth my while and worth watching this weekend.
Yeah, like I said, sports is starting to ramp up in a good way. Of course, in the weeks to come, we'll be putting y'all back up on NBA. We'll of course continue to talk women's basketball, men's basketball. There's actually gonna be a new women's basketball league. We're gonna talk about that in the weeks to come as well. So
That was actually pretty cool. That's probably why too, and I'm not trying to give up a lot. That why the girl probably back to back and didn't do right now on the big three too. Because at first we was like, what is going on? Hey, that might have been already in the works when all this happened. So yeah, it makes a lot more sense now, man.
yeah, even though she still has chosen not to play in the unrivaled league, which I found rather interesting.
Yeah, very.
We were talking about, of course, Caitlin Clark. But here's the thing, people, before we head out, a couple things. One, if any of our people out there in Cali is tuning in. You are in our prayers. The situation with the wildfires there is crazy. The fact that this is pretty much an annual event now, and they seem to get worse and worse every year. I mean, even some of the Hollywood superstars' houses is burning down. So definitely prayers. And if they tell you evacuate, please listen. Please listen. Also, shout out to our people down there in the Southern Belt. Y'all got a bad storm coming this weekend. Same scenario. Please listen. If they tell you evacuate or shut it down, please do so, because down south ain't used to getting 4 to 6 and 8 inches, and that's what some of that's predicted to be. Particularly in Texas, where, let's be honest, y'all Texans, y'all don't deal with the snow and ice well, so be prepared.
That's regular for us, but for y'all, that's on a whole new level.
Yeah, before I turn it over to Hugh, allow me to also take this time out to acknowledge the person that gave me life a couple years ago today. My mother passed on to the great beyond. I do miss her very much. Of course, as we sit here in the Nighthawk Network studios, a.k.a. the house that she bought, I can't help but think about her today and acknowledge her on her angel day, as some people call this now, when the day that the people pass. I kind of like that. But I miss your mom, and I appreciate all you did for me, and you still inspire me every day. And thank you to all those who have took the time out to acknowledge her and acknowledge my day. Shout out to my brothers as well. Hopefully y'all are dealing with it well, and that's all I got to say about that. Before we head out, we will definitely have Hugh let you know where you can find him, and of course catch his other things he is doing in his social media. Go ahead, Hugh.
Before I start off, I also acknowledge her today, and I would like to say, prayers for you and your family, E. You can catch me on Instagram as Hoovy. That's WHOOVI. I normally put up whatever I do as far as the podcast, and I would definitely be linking this show, the Guru Football Session, on there as well. And you can find me on Facebook as Sports Guru to You. Most times all I do is I put the highlights, I put the breaking news and whatever news that come out on there as well. And you can catch me on TikTok as Hugh.Lee6. You can also catch me every Wednesday on the football session. And on top of that, you can catch me on, my Gmail account. That's sportsguru2you@gmail.com. And you can go and catch me on YouTube for the Guru Perspective. And of course, the show, the Guru Football Session. Please, y'all, like and subscribe. Thank you, and we appreciate all y'all support.
All right, that being said, again, we apologize for some of the technical difficulties we're having. Use camera a little, but dealing with the internet sometimes is that way. It's beyond our control sometimes, but we appreciate y'all tuning in all the same. Tune in next week where we find out the results of the first round of the playoffs, see who's going to be in the finals for the college football. And for those of you that's been following the women's basketball as we have, we got a good matchup for y'all. I believe it's either today or tomorrow. You're going to get USC against undefeated Maryland, and one of the biggest matchups in the Big Ten this year. Definitely check that one out. Let us know what you think, and we'll talk about it next week, y'all. Until then, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. You know what to do, Hugh. Get them fingers going, my guy. And we up out of here. Juicy.